It's second week as Prime Minister for Andy Burnham, and he's come up with a rather big plan. Now, for the young jobless on benefits, he's been talking of more demanding conditions, voluntary work, for example, and a bigger, broader plan still to come. Now, for those not in work or education or training, the so-called NEETs, the idea is to get children to set their ambitions early, in their teens at school, a job in industry or construction, maybe the creative industries, and to work towards it and the skills and the qualifications they need right away there in school. And then get local employers to buy in and offer the apprenticeships and the places to provide a future. Burnham has seen this plan tried out in Manchester, where he was mayor. It is time, as Burnham put it, to value the hard hat as much as the graduation cap. And it's hard to argue with that, whatever your politics. Now, to look at the plans and whether it's worked on its test run in Manchester and how it might work in future, let's talk to the billionaire businessman, John Caudwell, the founder of Phones for You. Hello to you, John.
Hello, John.
Tell me then, John, what do you think of the plan?
I think it's absolutely sensible. I've been campaigning for that for about 20 years now because I went through vocational training. And I just believe that for, I won't say the majority of young people, but although it perhaps is the majority, that a vocational training plan with a world-class apprenticeship scheme is really the best start in life they can possibly get. If I take you back to what my experience was, I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship. There was only about 50 apprentices now to 1,400 applicants with Michelin Tyre Company. And they took me through a 5-year apprenticeship, training me in every single aspect of engineering, and put me through an HNC in mechanical engineering on day release as well. And that is absolutely a phenomenal start for any young person.
Yes.
And it was really invaluable to me.
John, you left school just before you took your A-level exams. Now, if you can just think back, maybe you need a certain amount of imagination, but if you'd been asked when you were 14 to pick a path for your future, what do you think you'd have chosen?
Oh, I don't know. I went through various possibilities, like a maths teacher, a doctor, a train driver when I was very young.
An astronaut, a pop singer.
Yeah, and all sorts of possibilities. Fighter pilot was the sexiest thing I came up with, but the opportunities for that seemed incredibly difficult to get hold of. But I think starting people on a career path very young is absolutely the right way to go. And in fact, I did it with Phones for You 30 years ago. I offered Saturday morning working for young people in my business. And ironically, I say ironically, because the Labour Party ripped me to shreds for exploiting young people, which was completely ridiculous because it cost me quite a lot of money to develop these young people, never made anything out of their wages. It was actually much more of a philanthropic venture to get young people to understand where they needed to go in life.
What was the line of attack from the Labour side at that point?
Well, exploitation of young people. One of them accused me of Victorian workshop tactics. And then the never-ending accusation that I'd be sending kids up chimneys. It was also ridiculous because I was trying to give young people a foot on the ladder to understand what sort of career they might like. Sales might not have been for them, and they might find that out at 14 or 15 years old and go into more technical training and engineering apprenticeship like I did, or many of the other skills that you can acquire as a young person, so that when you get to graduate age of 21, you've got a whole host of life skills and practical skills that you can apply in the workplace.
And are there enough incentives to employers that go with this scheme that would encourage those employers to take on enough trainees and apprenticeships and recruits?
That's an excellent point, John. My other part of the plan was not to just push people towards these apprenticeships, but actually to finance or help to finance employers to want to take these young people on and want to give world-class apprenticeship schemes. And I mean world-class, where they combined education along with all the practical skills. So I think money is involved in this, but what's a bigger cost to society than 1 million young people out of work on social security? That is terrible. It's a terrible waste of people. It's a terrible waste of opportunity for the country and the government. And so reversing that trend and pouring the money into providing employment for these young people and providing skills that they're proud of, that they can have a career in a different way rather than academia, is so sensible.
This ambition of, as Andy Burnham articulates it, of giving the same sort of prestige to someone who's wearing a hard hat as you might give to someone who's earned a university gown. That's more of a cultural challenge than anything else, isn't it? Do you think that's going to be possible to bring that about?
Well, I think it's a multiple challenge, yes, because when I was a kid, to go to university was an absolute dream of so many people, and so few people could. And so there was a bandwagon of academia that supported pushing people towards a degree, regardless of whether they were going to ever get a degree that was useful in their future life, or even a decent quality degree in terms of the qualification, whether it was a 2-2 or a 2-1. And I think that cultural aspect is still going to be an uphill struggle. But it just makes complete and utter common sense. And I wish Andy Burnham every luck with driving that policy through. But it's a complex policy, and he really does need to drive hard and think about what these apprenticeship schemes look like. How can he motivate employers to set up these apprenticeship schemes and to give them a world-class status rather than just they do 6 months on the job training and that's an apprenticeship, because it isn't. An apprenticeship is a lot more than that. Depending on what role, it's a minimum of 3 years and maybe up to 5 years.
Okay, now just last and very, very briefly, you're not a typical businessman, are you? Only because of the scale of your business. You started off, with stock of 26 mobile phones. You sold them over 18 months, and later on you sold the business for £400 million. Is this system going to do anything to produce more stories of your kind? Or can nothing really do that, except it happens as it happens?
I wouldn't say it will produce more of the major success stories because, I think university can do that because people meet others at university that inspire them, that join together and create entrepreneurial opportunities. But then again, look at the people that have gone into plumbing or electric installations and ended up running sizable businesses that are vital to society, because we all know that skilled tradesmen are very, very rare. And you've got a real difficulty getting a skilled tradesman, not just in the UK, it's in any country in the world. When you want a plumber or an electrician or somebody to sort your AV out, it's a real challenge finding the right person that can do a job and can come within the next few days. So I think there's a really good career for people in that. And from that career, if they've got the entrepreneurial flair, they can always turn that into a business in the future.
John Caudwell, really great to talk to you as always. Thank you.